All right, folks, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. You can get in touch with the show, 706-889-9700, 706-889-9700, or chief@fetchernews.com. You can email us. You can follow us on Twitter, @FetcherNews, @FYNTV. Follow us on Twitter. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is FYNTV, Fetcher News YouTube. You can subscribe there. So let's go. Last week, the Michael Flynn. Okay, last week Michael Flynn has been found guilty. He pleaded to a guilty charge of lying to the FBI. We know this was set up by Sally Yates I think about 4 days after Trump took office. We know this was set up by Barack Obama, Sally Yates. Michael Flynn led the cheers, lock her up at the convention. The deep state was not about to take this, and it was all a setup. Everything was a setup. Michael Flynn, you need to understand, okay? Let's look at it like this: lying in general, right? It's supposed to be wrong, right? It's supposed to be wrong to lie. But lying to the FBI, just a quick little thought. What about the FBI lying to us? I mean, it might sound silly. Where is the charge for the FBI that lies to us? The FBI that has not been honest with us and truthful with us? The FBI that lied or is corrupt, that got moved from being the head, the lead on the Hillary Clinton email scandal / sent text messages about Donald Trump with his girlfriend. Is it Lisa Page, FBI attorney? They get sent down to now, the FBI attorney, the only thing I've heard is she was removed from Mueller's legal team, but the other FBI guy on Mueller's team, all right, he got sent down to Human Resources, HR. So I'm very serious, lying to the FBI. Now, Sally Yates, they already had. Now, you got to think about this, and we're going to get a little deeper into this as the morning goes on. But Sally Yates, the acting director of the Department of Justice, had the audio where they captured Flynn's conversations. She had it. So there's something here, America, you need to stop and think about the capturing of your information, the capturing of your phone calls, the capturing of you and your personal information in this country. So Flynn, they already had this. So they basically, I'm going to say, took him into a room and asked him everything that was on these audio tapes or whatever they already had, and he didn't get it correct. Now, I'm not saying he didn't lie, but he didn't get it correct. So immediately the setup of lying to the FBI is there. It's a setup, okay? Now, what did I tell you? I told you last week, okay? Remember, I'm going in a direction I wasn't ready to go. Remember, I told you when the word came down, all right, that Trump's attorneys, that Flynn's attorneys sent Trump's attorneys or the White House or whoever a notice of the status of agreement between the two defense teams was now no longer in effect, that they could no longer trade information, okay? And that was a big deal and a big deal and a big deal. I told you that. I knew that was coming, all right? That this big deal, that Mueller had something, okay? And now you're hearing that Flynn, it's much bigger. And the deal he made is so he would do this and tell this. And did he wear a wire? And is Kushner going down? That's all you're hearing this morning. But what is the one thing I told you? And you're going to hear that in a minute. What is the one thing I told you was Flynn's son, Michael Jr. Now, the one thing you need to keep up close to the top of your thoughts every time Flynn comes up, and what kind of deal did he make with Robert Mueller? You have to understand, Michael Flynn yelled, "Lock her up." You might think it's that simple. Michael Flynn led the chance, lock her up, okay? And Michael Flynn Jr. tweeted Pizzagate. You need, no matter how silly that sounds and how simple it sounds. Michael Flynn Jr. tweeted Pizzagate. Michael Flynn chanted, "Lock her up." The deep state trying to figure out some sort of collusion with Donald Trump. Now, show that picture of Brian Ross. This is Brian Ross, ABC. Now, there's going to be something in his report, okay? This is Brian Ross, ABC, investigative reporter, okay? Lead investigative reporter Brian Ross. And there's going to be something in his report here in just a minute that we're going to play that I don't think anybody else is following or making a comparison. We'll see. So we're going to play this right here. This is the breaking news. This is former national security. This was a special report on ABC. Stock market is booming. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pleads guilty to 1 count of lying to the FBI. 1 count of lying to the FBI. Let's play the Brian Ross report there, starting right there.
Not disclose. He did not disclose. That is another thing, that he was vulnerable legally. We also know that his son, Michael Flynn Jr., was being questioned by the special counsel. No charge of Michael Flynn Jr. So really, George, the question here is, did he agree to testify on something else in exchange for what is a rather narrow indictment here on a single lie, 1 count of lying to the FBI?
Yeah, I want to bring that question to our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, who's also joining us right now. Brian, this certainly would seem to suggest that Michael Flynn had a fair amount of information to offer the special counsel in return.
That's right, George. He has promised full cooperation to the Mueller team. He's prepared to testify, we are told by a confidant, against President Trump, against members of the Trump family, and others in the White House. He is prepared to testify that President Trump, as a candidate, Donald Trump, directed him to make contact with the Russians, which contradicts all that Donald Trump has said at this point. As well, we're told that Flynn made the decision to cooperate only in the last 24 hours, that he is distraught about the decision but feels he's doing the right thing for his country, that he was facing huge legal bills of more than $1 million, and that he said that finally he had to go ahead and do this for that reason. He expects to put his house on the market. He is facing serious financial problems.
And John Carl, let's go back then on the importance of Michael Flynn right here. Michael Flynn, a chief foreign policy advisor to President Trump, candidate Trump, during the campaign, had a relationship with him going straight through even April 2017 after he was fired. One of the reports we had seen is that President Trump had asked him to stay strong in that. So the big question will be, what kind of direction was he getting from President Trump during the campaign, perhaps about any work with the Russians? What did
conversations with him?
Okay, so you are listening to the FBI. The deep state is doing everything to destroy Michael Flynn's life. Everything, okay? Everything they can to destroy it. He's got to put his house on the market, $1 million legal bills, everything they can do to destroy this man's life, okay? Set up by Barack Obama, Sally Yates. 1 count of lying to the FBI. 1 count is what he's charged for. All right? Destroy this man's life. All right? Now, the other thing here is keep in mind how many articles we have had put out by the Washington Post, the New York Times, you name it, that an unnamed source an unnamed source, a confidant close to the investigation. He is prepared. This came from an unnamed source. Brian Ross reported this. Unnamed source. That Trump directed him as a candidate. Totally wrong. Nothing but a lie. Went to ABC special report. They broke in special report by ABC News. Okay? Now go to, I don't watch The View, but go to how gleeful the left, how excited Brian Ross got everybody. Go to Joy Behar's excitement of what Brian Ross said.
ABC News' Brian Ross is reporting Michael Flynn promised full cooperation to the Mueller team and is prepared to testify that as a candidate, Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians. Yeah!
Beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and it's beginning to look a lot like collusion.
This was like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car reaction from the audience, by the way.
He goes to jail, he goes to jail, he goes to jail. Lock him up! Lock them up! On election night, I had to wear a veil. I was in mourning. So this is like the antithesis of that hideous night. And that's why I'm happy.
Even though there's clapping and screaming and everyone's excited, it's also a mixed emotion thing, which is bad. But that doesn't mean it's good for the country either way. That's really bad if the present day president there is collusion proven here. So it's not that it's a happy day, it's we need to figure out what went down here. Like that, I can't find myself cheering either.
Oh, no, it's a happy day. Come on. Well, come on.
I am more concerned.
He is going to be taken down for what he did, and this country can start to heal.
The antithesis. He's going to be taken down. Now, if Joy would just waited a minute before she got all gleeful and excited, she would have been able to hear Brian Ross say this. Let's go to the next one. Brian Ross had the next one you have.
And David, a clarification tonight on something one of Flynn's confidants told us, and we reported earlier today. He said the president had asked Flynn to contact Russia during the campaign. He's now clarifying that, saying, according to Flynn, candidate Trump asked him during the campaign to find ways to repair relations with Russia and other hotspots. And then after the election, the president-elect asked him and told him to contact Russia on issues, including working together to fight ISIS. David.
Before and after, and in the meantime,
folks, there's a difference in before and after, and Brian Ross had to come out and say a clarification. That's all he said, but ABC did release a statement and call it a correction. They had to go with the word correction. That caused the stock market alone, because if before Ross said a clarification from a Flynn confidant, okay, an unnamed source. Wonder how many confidants and unnamed sources there has been out there in this witch hunt. Now put up the tweet, Trump stock market tweet. President Trump put this out. The stock market, which recovered a good portion of their losses Friday. People who lost money when the stock market went down 350 points based on a false and dishonest reporting of Brian Ross of ABC News. He has been suspended, should consider hiring a lawyer and suing ABC for the damages this bad reporting has caused. Many millions of dollars was lost Friday based on this report from Brian Ross. based on it got Joy Behar all excited, and the ladies over at The View got all excited, and ABC came back out with a clarification that turned into a correction. They had no choice. Okay? And Brian Ross is gone for 4 weeks. You know, I always love it when these very wealthy people get suspended without pay. Oh, wow, he'll have it tough the next 4 weeks. He won't, you know, it'll be rough on him for the next 4 weeks. Yeah, right? Yeah, I bet. He'll be right back in 4 weeks spreading the same fake ABC news he has been spreading for years. So I'm your host, BKP. We'll be right back. I mean, nothing. I wanted to do that for the simple reason, nothing on any of the networks this morning concerning that. Nothing. Now, I don't watch CNN. I absolutely do not watch CNN whatsoever, okay? So I don't know what CNN has done or said, but I know ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, nothing this weekend. We'll go over the weekend shows when we get back. And then what about the, should Mueller still be investigating this? I don't think so. I'm your host, BKP. We'll be back right after these messages.